Hello everyone, Jason here, and if you are watching this, it's because I actually made this video. No kidding, right? Basically, I decided I wanted to take a little bit of time and address, we'll say, some questions. I guess we'll say answer some questions and comments and crap that I have seen, and maybe we'll say have a bit more of a meta focused video, something that's not focused on like a game that I'm playing, a place where I can, I'm just discussing channel life and stuff like that. Answer some, we'll say, frequently asked questions, as well as a few other sort of comments I've gotten. I could go ahead and just reply to each individual comment, but some of these questions, or some of the things, are I feel like I'm not gonna. I don't want to go ahead and copy and paste the same response to everybody who posted. So I figured, I just make one video and you guys can watch that. Sure, that works. What I'm going to do is because there's a few different questions or things that I want to talk about, and I'm sure that I'm going to bore somebody because this is just off the cuff, completely winging it, letting my mind go off on tangents if it chooses to do so, but mostly trying to just answer questions. So if you want, what you can do is you can look in the description, and I will have timestamps for each question that I am answering. So if something doesn't interest you, go ahead and find the question that you do want the answer to and click on that. And that way there you can just jump through the video and find whatever you want. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm answering questions, comments, and stuff like that. All right, so question number one, and it's the most frequently asked question that I get, and it's basically, where is Series X? So where is Morrowind? Where is Distant Worlds Universe? Where is Arma? Where is this? Where is that? And the short, I'll give you, we'll see the short answer in case you want to skip ahead. you just want to get the short answer. They are waiting to be recorded. I just do not have a whole lot of time to record things. To get a little bit more into detail, if you even care about such things, basically, what happened was I had, if you're a longtime viewer, you've noticed my output has gone down over the past little while, and that's primarily because, to be able to do a Let's Play, you need time where you can get away from everything else. You have no distractions, where you can talk and you don't have, something coming into, bleeding into your microphone and stuff like that. And what's sort of happened is I had my second child, and they just decided that they weren't going to nap anymore. And basically what used to happen, here we go, I'll give you a little bit of we'll say, an insight into my life. Me and my wife have an arrangement where basically she works during the day and I work in the evenings. And so basically what used to happen is I'd have one kid at school, and then I'd had my youngest, who would take naps, and then during that time I could just come here and record and play games and stuff. At one time I just had the one kid, and I could basically just spend hours and put out like 10 videos in a week. I don't really have that. I didn't have that anymore. Well, kids stopped taking naps, just won't take naps, and I'm not gonna lock the kid up in the attic and be like, stay here, daddy's gotta go make some videos. No, I'm not a terrible parent. So that leaves me with no time to really record stuff, because as soon as wife would get home from work, then I would be out the door, and then if you were watching my Witcher Let's Play, there was one episode where I tried recording an episode at like 3 a.m. when I had come home, and there wasn't a whole lot of energy there. So basically, it just comes down to time. I need exclusive time where I can just sit down and record things, and so as a result, of having this limited time, I've needed to prioritize or try to decide, okay, well, what am I going to work on now? And Morrowind, it had gotten up to, 177 parts. I'm like, there's a lot there. I started these other games for reasons, maybe I'll save that for another video, because I could go off on a whole tangent about that. But, I started up all these other games, and And I was like, you know what? I need to get some of these down. I don't like having so many half-completed Let's Plays. And I know the Elder Scrolls is not going anywhere. I know I'm not going to abandon Morrowind. So I was like, you know what? It's time. I'll just take a bit of a break. There was a decent sort of stopping point, and I'll come back to it later. And so that's why I was like, okay, let's finish The Witcher. Now let's go ahead and do Contact. And now I still have Battlespire and Distant Worlds Universe, but I feel like Morrowind's been on hold for long enough. So I guess if you want a more concrete answer as to where such and such a series is, Morrowind, I'm planning on starting back up in May. I might have that go until I'm done, like, the main quest or something, and then take another small break to finish one of the other games on the back burner. We'll see, depending on how much time I have. We'll see, but yeah, I guess I should have led with that, right? Maybe I'll put a timestamp just for that little detail. Like, yes, Morrowind is coming up next. Watch for it. The other two, I'll fit them in when I can, because as it is, even with the pandemic, the COVID-19 thing, I'm still working. My wife is still working, so I'm thankful for that. I know a lot of people are, but I'm also envious of a lot of the people who are just saying that they're bored. I'm like, dude, you know what I could do with all this free time? But I still don't have all that free time. So while a lot of people are sitting at home bored and stuff like that, I'm still working, and I'm not recording videos. So that is why stuff is so slow. But believe me, there's no lack of passion there. There's no lack of desire to do it. As soon as I can, I will do it. It's coming. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'll address the reasons why I did dumb things and started like 5 series at once in another video. All right, next question is basically, it's kind of we'll say a variation on this one, is will you play Game X? Like, will you play Fallout? Will you play Fallout's the big one I keep getting asked about, but there's, I get those kind of questions. Honestly, I don't really know. As it is, I'm focusing on the games that I've got. I've already got sort of we'll say a short list of games that I'm looking at, but really, as we discussed in the previous question, my time is limited, so I'm not really thinking that far ahead. It was originally my plan after completing the Elder Scrolls Anthology to maybe look at Fallout, kind of like how I was thinking of just alternating between Souls game and Witcher and, stuff like that, but I don't really have anything concrete. Honestly, if I had all the time in the world, if I was immortal and, if I had all the time in the world, I would say, you know what, yes, I will let's play every single game in existence, and I do mean every single game in existence. But that can't happen, so, the answer is, maybe, if I feel like it. For basically every game. There's so many games I would love to play. I just don't know. Not until I can get to a point where I've got regular time to record stuff, and I'm getting through games at a decent pace and not like a handful of games a year. And by handful, I mean like 1 or 2. All right. All right. Next. We'll say frequently read comment that I wanted to address is comments like, "You're so frustrating to watch. I want to kill myself." To that, I simply have to say, you. Go play the game yourself if you want to play it a different way. I'm not trying to be the best player. I think a lot of people really underestimate how difficult it is to concentrate on playing while also kind of, processing. It's just trying to come up with things to talk about. Like it's like distracted driving, right? You're just like trying to do something while driving. You are going to be somewhat more distracted, and it's the same kind of principle. My attention is divided between two different things. I have to keep in my mind how I'm speaking so that when it comes to editing, that I can, fit things around that. Like there's a lot going on in my head while I'm recording a game, and you know what? Yeah, I do stupid stuff. And you know what? Sometimes even when I'm not let's playing, I do stupid stuff. And you know what? Okay, if I cause you that much grief, then maybe for your own mental health. Don't watch me. Because I will frustrate you. I've been told I am the dumbest smart person that people know, or the smartest dumb person. Like, you know, one of those weird contradictory statements. Yeah, that's applicable. So yeah, I don't really know how to respond to those comments. I get them, and I'm just kind of like, okay, thank you. That was a very helpful, constructive comment, right? You know, it's that did wonders for my mood. You know, I love being told that I frustrate people to the point of suicide. It's like, oh, that's cool. Alternatively, I get tons of comments about, you know, from people saying that they love my stuff, and they're like, oh, thank you so much for doing this. I think those are kind of equally weird, because I'm like, I'm literally just playing a video game in front of a microphone and talking about it, and you love it, and that kind of feels weird to me. But I appreciate those a lot more. Just saying. So if you've ever said a nice thing on a comment, or if you just hit the like, you know, every once in a while it's nice to be like, ooh, that number went up. I thank you. But yeah, if I frustrate you, just think of it as watching an idiot play a game, and just, you know, just kind of go into it going, all right, what's Jason gonna screw up this time? Because I think your experience will be much better for this change in attitude. All right, next thing. All right, I'm guessing it's because of the pandemic, or it's something with YouTube's algorithm. I've been getting a lot of, we'll say, newer viewers here, and as a result, I've been getting a lot of extra comments. Some of these comments, though, it's I would just like to advise people, you know, if you're coming in and you're seeing a video and I say something that's probably, you know, it very well could be stupid. I've said a lot of dumb stuff in videos. I've gone back and rewatched some of my videos in the before, and yeah, I've kind of cringed. I've been like, holy crap, that's stupid. You know, that happens. See the previous one of the previous questions about, you know, sometimes you don't have time to really think about what you're saying when you say things. Sometimes you get hot takes, right? And they're not fully done. Fully done thoughts. Anyways, but you know, sometimes I get these snarky comments like, no, idiot. This is actually like this. And I bet Buddy is sitting at home and he's feeling really smug. He's like, I told some person on the internet that they were wrong. And the guy's sitting there with a smug grin, and he's like, he's probably at home. That Jason guy's probably sitting at home crying. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, holy crap, I made this video 6 years ago. I do not remember what this guy's responding to. Cool, let's just like his comment, because he's probably right. Because I get so many comments of people answering questions I may have asked in the past, and I have no idea what it is that I said, because they give me no context, no timestamp. Like I said, the video is like 6 years old, and I'm just sitting here kind of like, well, I'd love to be able to interact with you, but I barely have time to record videos, much less sit through an entire episode of my own stuff just to find maybe one line that this person might be making a reference to. So if you want my interaction, or, you know, if you want me to, yeah, basically if you want my interaction, give me at least a timestamp, or paraphrase what I said, or, I don't know, word your response in such a way that I don't need to know initially what I said to be able to go, oh, cool, good idea, or a good point. Give me a little bit more context, because there's I see so many comments where I'm just like, cool, buddy, that's a cool thought. Yeah, cool, awesome, all right, bye. There's nothing really there for me to work with. Yeah. All right, and lastly, something completely not channel, well, I guess it was mentioned on my channel, but it's not really channel related. During my Fatal Frame Let's Play I did, I'd love to get back to that series. I made mention that I had some, we'll say, paranormal experiences of my own in the past, and I said, you know, maybe if someone was interested in that, I would go ahead and tell the story. And I've gotten a couple comments, or few. I don't know. I haven't been keeping count. I'm sorry, but I have been asked, you know, what are these experiences? What are these stories that you've got? These ghost stories. And I figured, you know what, let's just jam this in here. We'll end things off on, we'll say, a more, I don't know, strange note, a little bit more of a lighthearted or whatever interesting note. So we're gonna end things off with, yeah, depending on how much, I don't want to waste too much time. Maybe I'll save one for another time, but I'll tell at least one story. Kind of, it's a compound story. In other words, well, it's a group of stories. It's a cluster of stories. It's a cluster story. Sure. Anyways, this would have been. Oh, sorry. So you know, before I get started, you know, when people start saying, oh, they will say believe in ghosts and stuff, there's this knee-jerk reaction a lot of times to be like, oh, crazy person. So I'm gonna actually tell you, we'll say, what my overall views on the whole, say, paranormal thing are first, so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from here with this. Because primarily of my experiences, I believe that I believe in the phenomenon, but I make no conclusions about what it or what they or whatever it is. You know. I may have an experience with what I would call a ghost, or ghosts, but I do not have any, we'll say, evidence to actually support that they are even necessarily, spirits of the dead. That's a leap of logic. I guess you could say I'm kind of, I am the cast of X-Files. You know, I am skeptical, but at the same time, I want to believe. And based on my experiences, I believe what I've seen, but I don't want to believe in a lie. So when I do experience things, I do go through the steps to kind of try and, disprove things, or I'll be like, okay, what could I have actually seen? I don't immediately jump to a conclusion like, holy crap, that was a ghost. So, you know, as I've had a lot of experiences, but the one I'm going to share, is probably the most, we'll say, prominent, well, it's one of the most prominent ones because of the way it happened, and I can't think of any, explanation for it, which is why it's, an interesting story for me. But anyways, I've rambled on enough. Let's get started. So, this would have been, I want to say 2003, 2004, early 2000s, sometime around there. And I was up late, still with my parents. I think it was high school. Was that still high school? Doesn't matter. And I was on, it was late night. Everyone was up in bed. And I was on the computer. As you know, even back then, right? But I was chatting on ICQ, if anyone remembers that. I was actually talking to my now wife, and yeah, we would just stay up talking for hours. So what happened one night was I'm sitting there chatting, and I hear we'll say a creak. From the stairs behind me, and now, basically we had our den and we had the computer. Now behind the computer there was a set of stairs that went up to a small landing, and then it went sideways up to the top floor. So you couldn't see the top floor from the den, but you could see the stairs, and then you could, even the landing was a little off to the side. But anyways, I heard the creak. Now, this wasn't uncommon, because what would happen is, because I was staying up late, chatting so much, that the light from the den would actually, it would actually bother my mother, and basically because their bedroom was up right off the top of the stairs. So a lot of times she would go to the stairs, and I'd hear her, and then she'd yell down, kind of like, "Go to bed!" And so this one particular night, I was like, "Oh, I hear her walking over there. She's gonna shout down." So I preemptively, I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm ending things now. I'm going now," because she wanted me to turn off the light to the den, so she could sleep. So, I went ahead and I, said bye, I shut things down, turned off the light, and I walked up to the landing, and I looked up at the top of the stairs. Now, at the top of the stairs, it was there was lights in the hallway, so you could there was light coming in from the street lights outside. So it's like it was dark. My eyes were still adjusting to the dark, but it was still clear enough that it's not like ooh, I think I see something. No, it was very clear that there was a dark figure up there, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. She's waiting to see if I actually would close things off. Because, and the reason why that thought came to mind is because, yeah, sometimes I'd say, yeah, okay, I'm stopping now, and then like an hour later, you know, I'm still on the computer chatting. So when I saw the figure up at the top of the stairs, I was like, okay, she wasn't buying my bullcrap, right? She was like, waiting to see if I actually would. And so as I started to walk up, I saw, presumably, who I thought was my mom, walk off to the right towards the bedroom, which, you know, makes sense. Okay, she's going. She sees I'm heading up the stairs, so she's gonna go to bed, right? So I climb up. I get up to the top of the stairs, and then I look over into the bedroom, and my parents they're out. They're sleeping. And now here's where I start to, you know, those alarm bells start going off, because I'm like, wait a second. Like I didn't hear, you know, any creak or anything. I didn't hear anyone get back. I didn't hear her get in the bed, and she's out. And I'm like, well, that was quick. That's kind of strange. So I kept walking past the their bedroom to there was a bathroom right at the end of the hall. And I opened the door, and I open it up, and again, you know, all the lights are off, but the bathroom had a window that faced our backyard. In our backyard, we you know, there was a neighbor's house behind us, and they had a deck light that was really stupid bright. So that would shine through the window, and so, you know, I could still see everything in the bathroom. You know, I could make out every little detail. You know, I could make out, okay, there's the toothbrush. There's, you know, there's the towel. There's the toilet. There's, you know, I could make out details very clearly. So it's not, once again, it's not one of these things where, you know, oh, my eyes are playing tricks on me. No, there was, I opened up the door, and there was this figure. It was shorter than me. It was really thin, and it was just, yeah. I'm sure if you've heard any ghost stories, you've heard the idea of blacker than black, and it, you know, all the hairs on the back of my neck just started going up, and the weirdest thing is, because in retrospect, I'm like, you know, my first reaction should have been, holy crap, and run. But for some reason, it's like I was calm enough that I decided instead, I'm going to put my hand out, I'm going to touch it. So I reach my right hand out, and I'm like, okay, is there really something here? And it was, okay, how do I describe this? As I put my hand out to touch it, it's like as my hand would have touched it, because it's like my hand went into it, I could actually feel like a line. Like if you've ever had like a small pool or a bowl of water or something, and you just sort of very slowly, gently, you put like your fingertips into the water, and you can kind of feel that line where, you know, you can tell which part of your fingers sort of submersed. It's just like this sort of feeling. But the tips of my fingers, like as my fingers went in, they went like ice cold. And it was like my fingers went cold. And at that point, I think that maybe around that point, that's when my, oh crap, reaction sort of kicks in. And I throw my left arm out to hit the light switch, which was right next to the door. And as my arm's going out, it starts like lunging at me. Like the arms come up on it, and it starts like leaping at me. And then I hit the lights, and it's gone. And I sat in the bathroom for like half an hour after that, just kind of like sitting there going, okay, what was that? Now, I say cluster of stories because, you know, that on its own was oh yeah, that's right, sorry, I'm not done yet. That's right. After that, I decided, okay, I'm going to go to bed. I finally had calmed down. I'm like, okay, nothing, I didn't hear anything else, I didn't see anything else. Went to bed, just closed my eyes. I'm like, just whatever. And as I was laying in the bed, I think I remember hearing the water turn on, like a water running. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not even going to go check it out. I'm going to bed. So anyways, this must have happened later on in the week, because I remember the next day I had asked, everyone was eating at the table, and I had asked, I was like, all right, I don't think I asked, I just said, you know, I had a really weird experience last night, and it's like everybody just, well, except for my brother never experienced anything, it was the weirdest thing, but everyone just sort of went like silent and really serious. And then they all shared that week they had all been having these weird, strange experiences as well. My dad had what I would describe as a sleep paralysis incident. You know, so those ones there I'm always kind of iffy about. And the reason why I like this story here is because I was wide awake when everything happened. I've had a lot of incidents that happened right after waking up, which I have one that's I'll tell in just a second. But he had a sleep paralysis incident. My mother said that she remembered looking out the window and seeing, like, there was a tree next to the house, and that there was something sort of like hanging in the tree, like climbing up in the tree, like this figure, like this really thin kind of small figure, like just like I like it. Oh, I'm getting chills to think of this. My sister, who was very young at the time, she had incidents where she had woken up my mom in the middle of the night because her bed was shaking and something was throwing like her doll's clothes at her around the room. So like nobody had shared any of these stories. So the only ones who had technically had any sort of experience were like my mom and my sister. Those were the only two cross stories, but none of us had told any of these other sort of experiences. And to me, that's kind of the interesting thing, because it was all in this short span of time. We all started having these really weird experiences. One night I woke up, my eyes opened up, and that thing again, that black figure was just sort of crouched right next to my bed, and just instinctively my hand just flew out like in a fist. You know, I went to punch it, and the thing ran away, and I could hear it like giggling into the hallway. That one there, while really freaky, like I mentioned before, sleep paralysis incidents I'm a lot more skeptical of. So I'm like, okay, there was no actual paralysis. Obviously my arm threw out, I threw my arm out. But it's still possible that that's what it was. It's possible that I was still in a dream state. So I don't put as much, we'll say, weight in that. But when you combine it with the fact that I had seen something while wide awake, had that other experience that was, I touched, I saw, I heard everything, all at once. I think that makes it a little bit more interesting as a whole. I'm looking at my timer right now. I'm almost at half an hour for this video. So I think I'll stop it there. I do have a few others, but that one there is sort of like my big story, because there was it's like everybody had an experience. It wasn't around Halloween, so it wasn't on anyone's minds. And we had all kind of had our own sort of strange experiences, except for my brother. Maybe it's just my brother. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it was. It was his fault. He was doing something. No, I don't know. But yeah, so there's one of my, we'll say, spooky ghost stories. What was it? No idea. Was it freaky? Yeah. Did I have it? Can I explain what had happened? Not really. You could go ahead and start saying, well, maybe you were just fatigued. Maybe you were kind of just crazy. Maybe you were losing your mind or something. Yeah, maybe, but everybody else was having weird instances. Like even like I get that my dad having a sleep paralysis incident around the same time could be just coincidental, but it's still an interesting coincidence. Maybe there was something in the house. Maybe there was some sort of, I don't know. I can't answer it. I just know that I've had many experiences. A lot of them, we'll say, just as sort of eerie, creepy, and in many different houses, many different locations. So, and a lot of them corroborated, like people have had the same experience. I think there was one time, Like I said, I'll save that for another one. There was one that it was me and my brother had witnessed at the same time. But like I said, that's a different story. Another time. I don't have time for this. I don't have. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Maybe next time I do one of these videos, like a comment video, I'll slap another story at the end of that one. So hey, if there's something, a question or anything you kind of want me to address, or you have a question, or something you want me to talk about, leave a comment in the comment section. I kind of actually, while I'm doing this, I'm kind of thinking, it would kind of be fun to, just kind of have like a little meta feature every once in a while where, I'll answer your questions, or I'll just talk about a topic, or give an answer about something that interests you. I'll do my best. Even if it's something I don't really have an opinion on, I'll do my best. But you might get like a 2-word answer. But yeah, if you've got something else you want me to talk about, drop a comment in the comment section. If you like this kind of meta discussion and stuff, give it a thumbs up. If you're like, hey, Jason, you ramble too much, and go start real, go ahead and leave a thumbs down. I don't care, whatever. Or even if you like the video and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna like this negatively, go ahead and leave a thumbs down too. I don't care, just whatever. Push something to indicate that you have some sort of strong feelings towards this video. It's just yeah. I need your feelings. Just not the ones of frustration of how I play games. Anyways, I've rambled enough. Until next time, I'd like to ask you all to game on.